Welcome to White Space, DCD's weekly look at news from the data centre industry. When I say weekly, I've been away for 2 weeks, and I've been to the OCP Summit, Open Compute Project, in Santa Clara, and then coming back across the States to DCD Enterprise in New York. And there were interesting things at both of those. But what's been happening here?
Well, actually, another thing, Google had their big show in America as well, and they're ready for the enterprise, is what they're saying. They're saying, you know, everyone knows Google's good at technology, but we can do services too. We can provide all the things that if you're a big company, you need. The question is if they actually can. They say they can, but they're going to back it up with a lot of data centers. They've announced 3 new regions, California, Montreal, and Netherlands. So that's at least 9 data centers. We know there's one being built in the Netherlands, literally just finishing. So it's 8 other data centers out for us to spot.
Good. So Google weren't just ready for the enterprise; they were at DCD Enterprise. The keynote, the top of the keynote, anyway, was Joe Carver, who is head of data center infrastructure at Google, and his main point was about renewable energy and how big advocates like Google, which happens to be the world's largest buyer of renewable energy, are actually changing the availability of renewable energy for everyone else. So in Taiwan, there were no renewable tariffs for anybody, but Google got involved and through negotiation with the government made sure that non-punitive renewable tariffs should be available for all.
Yay.
Yeah, and that's not, other big organisations do similar things. Switch did that in Nevada as well. And both Google, Joe Carver, and Microsoft's Christian Bellady in the same keynote made a sort of significant kind of PS to this, which is if you're going to do renewable energy and you get renewable credits for it, you generate the energy, you sell it on, retire the credits so that it doesn't get counted twice as renewable energy. They both say, watch out. And if you're a consumer of this kind of thing, make sure that the people you're buying from are doing that.
There was also, in a little bit of kind of shouldn't be funny but slightly funny news, Nielsen had an outage on Sunday morning.
The famous Nielsen rating.
Yes, indeed. And so there was an outage on Sunday morning for about 2 hours, which in theory shouldn't be much of a problem. But as a result, between Saturday evening, so even before the outage happened, and now still, the statistics are not coming out properly for all of the ratings. So AMC, CBS, loads of channels are not getting all of their data from Nielsen. But it turns out that they weren't even really that bothered because Nielsen is kind of struggling lately with modern day analysis. It hasn't been taking into account Netflix viewings, it's just taking into account television. It's still sending out like paper surveys to people where they're filling in what their TV habits are, which are non-existent in a lot of cases. So yeah,
so a hiccup in collection of data for essentially obsolete technology.
Pretty much.
So saying that, because what I liked about the story, how many millions of dollars are still being traded on the basis of those ratings?
According to the New York Times, $70 billion in advertising dollars are being traded in America every year, according to their analysis. So.
Yeah. Okay. How much do we know about the outage? Because in a lot of cases, nothing very much gets made public.
Little. They sent out a lot of updates, but very little information. So they said the first instance was we've had a technical problem, which they didn't say any further detail. Then they said that it had been an outage, but that they were back on. And then they said that it wasn't the data collection, but the processing. But very, very little information was sent out.
That's significant. So all the monitors in people's TV screens that are saying what they're watching, all that data came in. So assuming it's not corrupted during the outage, they can eventually provide the data. It was just they weren't able to provide it to the other people.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think by Tuesday they were getting Saturday's ratings in, so kind of trickling slowly out.
Right. And do we know whether it was their own in-house data centre? Or
Yes,
it
it
their
was.
own in-house.
So they have a data centre. It's their main office in Oldsmar in Florida, which is I think near Tampa.
Okay.
Don't know much of it. I know that it's now at 1 Nielsen Way because they changed the address deliberately to name it after themselves.
As they do.
Yeah.
And so in other words, we can expect to hear from colo and definitely cloud players that this would not have happened if they'd gone the reliable route and gone into the cloud.
Speaking about outages, so we will remember the sort of like the big AWS one, which happened recently. We have some data about the impact. Now, it's not a lot of data, but a company called Rain King Solutions, who do sort of like all sorts of like cloud integration and migration, they asked 100 customers, so 100 customers who use AWS, what do you think about this whole thing? And 60 of them said they're actually investigating other solutions and thinking of moving away from Amazon. So even though like overall, in terms of hours, it wasn't that big, and it's just, Amazon apparently has some of the best records in terms of actual downtime among the major cloud providers, but damage has been done.
Right, so my guess is they'll find they've moved away from Amazon to someone else who happens to be using S3 inside their service. The services that went down, many of them weren't hosted on Amazon, they just used a bit of S3 somewhere in it.
Well, closer to home though, we have quite an intriguing story that's developing. China and other nations like to buy big infrastructure companies around the EU, and the EU, especially Germany and France and Italy, don't like that sometimes because they're worried about the exact reasons that another state might buy important infrastructure. So right now through the European Commission, a paper is making its way up through the echelons to allow the European Commission to block acquisitions, or even just employees from other nations that they think they don't trust taking senior positions at companies, including digital infrastructure companies.
Yes, because that's considered strategic
national security.
Industry, yes.
So if this happens, the nation state which is having the company bought, so if the UK, for example, while we're still in the EU, had a company being bought by Global Switch, 49% was bought by Chinese investors, and that there were strategic concerns over that. The country could still decide to allow it, but the EU now has, at the moment, it can only really block purchases based on antitrust. But now it could be on an actual state things, which adds which adds an extra layer of political intrigue, shall we?
To our business.
Okay, I want to bounce back to OCP, the OCP Summit, which is last week, or the week before last when you watched this. And the top news there was about new servers, and it was an interesting contrast because when you hear about OCP, I mean the original first wave of things OCP did was about simplifying servers down, commoditizing them, making them so they were all kind of potentially just identical and everybody could buy the same service and they'd be cheaper. So this summit, Facebook has continued along that line. There's a list of several new servers that they've defined, which their contract partners will make for use within Facebook, and which other people will be able to commission and by using the published designs. Facebook's Director of Technology, Vijay Rao, has said, yes, our engineers, if they're specifying for Facebook data centers, can have any server they like as long as it's one of these, 5 of them or thereabouts. So, complete limitation to save money. Whereas, at the same time, Microsoft announced the next stage of its Olympus project, which is about letting other partners in during the development stage of equipment. And what's happened there is because everyone else is in there, it's opened up, so there are massively more different kinds of servers, processors available. For a set of servers that won't be available for a while, but we know as soon as they're around, they'll have processors from AMD, from Intel, from Qualcomm, and from Cavium, the last two being ARM-based designs. So big boost for ARM. It's not as extreme as was reported as some of the headlines seemed to imply, that Microsoft is instantly replacing all its Intel chips with ARM-based ones.
No. It's sort of like a target of 50%, right? Did they actually say that at any point?
They said 60% of cloud tasks on Azure could be done on ARM.
Yeah.
And they also said, and we can run Azure on ARM, we have ported it in-house.
That's the big news, right? And it's sort of like that there was a very happy KVM guy who was jumping around and saying, this is validation, this is what we wanted.
Yeah. Okay, but it's all under the covers. These aren't servers which will be available for sale, except as like bare metal in the cloud. Although again, as with all other OCP related kit, the designs are published out there. So Qualcomm and its partners and Cavium and its partners will be able to push out these boards much more quickly than they otherwise would. Essentially, as these new chips materialise and drop to the ground, there'll be boards ready to catch them much quicker than usual.
All right, and I have a short roundup of the news, but sort of like just a couple of things. Like Schneider Electric has launched their Ecoflair indirect air economizer, and this is like this is a bit sort of like meat and potatoes, but this thing is actually beautiful. So I've seen it in testing in a Schneider facility, and they really just like it looked beautiful. You know, like they tasted from every single side. But the key point here is plastic heat exchanger. It's made from some sort of super secret polymer, which I guess they didn't develop themselves. They bought it from someone, but the design is theirs. And like traditional heat exchangers are made out of metal, and it's basically you can't lift them. You need a crane just to get them around. This thing you can sort of like one man, two men, pick it up and go. Basically, it looks like a sweet economizer.
So I mean, Schneider already had economizers.
Yes.
So the new bit is just this particular heat exchanger.
Yes, and also modular construction. They go on about how modular construction is sort of like it's easier to service, it's easier to install, it's easier to ship. You know, Schneider's all about modules.
Yeah.
It's kind of the thing they do. So yeah, we can and I think they sort of like if you compare it to a traditional sort of cooling system, they promise 60% higher efficiency. And even if you compare it to the competition, they say it's going to be 15-20% because this is new. This is just hot off the presses. It uses like the last in tech. So yeah, I do love this economizer.
Okay. And meanwhile, in New York at our event, Schneider were launching something modular. Schneider Micro Data Center Xpress, which is Express in the sense that you can order it and have it delivered, ready to run in 2 to 3 weeks, including the IT hardware inside it. They've got it certified with major vendors, Cisco, UCS, Dell, HP, and others. And it's shipped with all the stuff in it and ready to go.
And in other news, our first 12 terabyte hard drive that does parallel magnetic recording. No shingles, no hammer, no lasers, nothing. Just a normal classic drive filled with helium though. 12 terabytes is coming in June.
And that was at the OCP Summit.
Yes.
Good. A final thing, something else on OCP, the Open Compute project. There's a lab coming where people can test out compatibility and try migrations to OCP kit. Run by friends of ours. DCD is sponsoring this, and it's at the Volta Data Centre in London.
That's just around the corner, right?
Just around the corner, that's right. C Squared Consultants are the people that are producing this.
You're not allowed in Nomax. They've been warned.
Just don't bring any of your squirrel friends. That's all from Whitespace this week. We'll see you next time.
Cheerio.
Okay.